You are listening to Visionaries Wrestling Network, providing your perfect podcast experience.
My name is Josh Fuller. I am legally an adult. I hate Mason, and you're listening to the MGB Wrestling Podcast.
This is the MGB Wrestling Podcast. We are reviewing Flying V. Well, pre-show, Jackson, he dressed up as Orange Cassidy or Clementine Cassidy or whatever you want to
Satsuma
call
Cassidy?
it. Yeah. And Mikey Banker, he took my pad when we were standing in the waiting area place.
It's normally Josh that bugs you,
Yeah.
which is kind of funny that the two people we've actually interviewed from Crab Wrestling, or we've had on Are You Smarter Than a 5-Year-Old, and it's normally Josh that bugs you, and it was Mikey that started doing it, which was funny. We were second in line, I think. We got there a little earlier for this one, because the last one, we got there a little late, and there was a huge long line of people. And with having Jackson, we wanted to get those same back seats that we had before, because we knew they were really good.
Mm-hmm. And then when we got in, we got those seats, and then we were walking out to say how go get some autographs and all that stuff. And then we were walking out, and then Josh escorted us out.
He was pretending to be security. He'd got it touching like a microphone to his mouth, or pretending to, or touching his ear like security does. He's like, "Yeah, I got them. I'm moving them out. Please move along, guys. Please move." He's pretty funny. He always plays a good role. I think he was on commentary again, right?
Yes.
And I haven't listened to it. It is available on Independent Wrestling TV now, but I don't really remember. I was watching more for one of the matches we saw later. I wasn't really paying attention to the commentary. I just wanted to see if we actually featured or not. All right, well, perhaps we'll talk a bit more about why Jackson dressed up when we get to that particular match. So some of the people that we saw as we walked in, we could see the tables laid out, but there wasn't really anybody there at the time. Mike Quackenbush was there, but he didn't have any 8x10s, unfortunately. We asked him, so anyway, we didn't manage to get anything from that. We did see Savage Gentleman, or Jackson saw Savage Gentleman. He thought it was Max Morrison. He thought it was Mad Max. I was like, no, that's that. And he'd seen Savage Gentleman before. So we did get to an autograph from them later, because we lost our last one, unfortunately, at Crab. I'm trying to think who else was out at that time. Not many people. People were still kind of getting ready to set up. I know the one person we were looking for as well, because Jackson had his Officer Magnum shirt on as well. We were looking to see if Officer Magnum was there, but we didn't see Solo Darling at this point, and we didn't see Officer Magnum either. Now, one other thing then. So just as we sat down, because we got there about 30 minutes before, he suddenly decided he needed to go to the restroom. I was like, that's fine, good. I'd rather you go now than the actual match. We went out. Mason's scowling at me now because you know what's coming. He went to the restroom, and then we stopped by Mike Quackenbush, and Jackson got a picture with him. Because you said later, you're like, I wonder why you guys took so long. Yeah, Jackson got a picture with Mike Quackenbush, so that was pretty cool. All right, you can go on to...
I'm still beating him in the pictures with...
Of course, you've been going for 2
Eli
years.
Drake, MJ,
You've been going for 2 years.
Tito Santana, Hornswoggle.
All right, you went to your first wrestling event when you were 9.5. He's 5.5 right now, so I'm going to guess within the next 4 years he's going to have a pretty good collection before technically you even started. But I'm afraid you're going to have to give up. If you're doing this as a competition, you're going to lose big time on this.
Being the first child.
Normally it's people complain because they're the youngest because they don't get to do stuff. Like, he gets to see you doing stuff and he's like, sorry, you can't do that. You got to wait until you're such and such age. But
because whenever I buy something, he wants to play with it. And half the time he breaks it or loses part of it. Like, I bought a pinball. He lost 2 of the balls, but later we found them.
We found them. All right, that was everything I had from the pre-show. We should have mentioned as well, this event was called Sweet Summer Heat. I actually suggested to Primetime Pro Wrestling that they should have switched the names, because they've actually talked about, they've got fans installed for this Sunday, because it's like, oh my gosh, that place was so hot last time. We've got 100-degree temperatures pretty much every day in Virginia right now. If it's going to be that plus the inside heat, that place is going to be unbearable when we go to that event. So I think Sweet Summer Heat might have been appropriate more for Primetime Pro.
Well, at least we're not wrestling.
We're not. Can you imagine those wrestlers?
Yeah.
That's absolutely crazy.
Especially if you're like Samoa Joe, who already sweats a lot.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be sweating twice as much.
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy.
So, match 1. Grizzly versus Cabana Mandan versus Warpig versus Lucas Calhoun versus Safety First Tim Donst versus Arik Royal.
This was a huge lineup. I was excited. I knew this match ahead of time, and I was really excited for all those people got a great round of applause as well when they came out. Obviously, Safety First is a really popular character. Cabana Man Dan, I think this is the first time he's been back in the DMV area since we had Nova Pro. DMV is DC, Maryland, and Virginia for people not from this area. And Lucas Calhoun, similarly, we used to see him. There was a lot of people we're familiar with. Arik Royal made his debut as well.
Didn't Cabana Man Dan drive 10 hours?
Yeah, I saw that afterwards on Twitter. Yeah, I think he's from Alabama. And, yeah, he said he had a 10-hour drop. My gosh, that's a long way to come for an event. We know people travel, like, long distances, but 10 hours just for one event, that's committed right there.
Franco, he has to fly all the way to Australia, but...
That's tough. Yeah, that's like a 24-hour flight, I think. So that can be really tough. But you can sit back and do stuff while you're doing that. Like, you can watch movies the whole time. If you're driving, you can't really watch movies. You don't have access to that sort of stuff. So
I've seen some different. Truck drivers with the little TV in there.
Yeah, you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to do that. That's very dangerous. There's a lot of people who've had accidents doing that as well. Yeah, don't do that, please. I
wasn't like thinking about doing it, but
that's definitely distracted driving. If you think looking at a phone's bad, imagine watching a TV screen for a 45-minute episode or something. No, you really shouldn't do that. Unless it's a show you can kind of just listen to. But
I guess when it's like a comedy,
somebody did it for Battlestar Galactica, and I know they had an accident. It's like, that's a sci-fi show. It's like, there's no way you can watch that and
I guess when it's
concentrate.
like a singing competition or something like that.
You could listen to that, sure.
Yeah.
That would be fine.
Wouldn't you just
I don't think
to
many
a podcast
truckers listen to America's Got Talent or anything like that.
Yeah, but like, I guess you could listen to podcasts or something.
You could. I'd have no problems being a truck driver. I could listen to podcasts. I could listen to music. I'd have no problems at all.
I wouldn't really
I have plenty of material.
Care too much other than I actually have to like cramp down in that tiny little truck that's actually the tiny little space where you drive, and then you have
cab.
Yeah.
I think it's not going to be smaller than a car.
I mean, but you're sitting down all the time. I would rather be like.
Stop. Oh, sure. Well, obviously. But it's of the things you can do, it's not like it's about... I don't know how long that job's going to be around anyway, because it sounds like they've already got automated trucks that sort of drive across the country by themselves now. So that could be a job that's phased out, probably by the time you leave high school, I guess.
Well, I guess I could be a cheap truck driver.
Could be.
Just sitting there. Then you could watch TV.
Then you could watch TV, yeah, but, well, I guess that'd be pointless having somebody then, because you wouldn't need them. If you're watching TV, what role are you actually playing? Why would you pay somebody just to sit and watch TV? That doesn't seem very likely. Alright, we got way off topic, which is kind of familiar for us territory, but hey, you're leading this podcast, so I'm going to blame that on you if we go off topic.
How did we go from, this is a very stacked card, to truck drivers watching TV?
Because you're talking about Cabana Man Dan traveling a long way.
Oh, yeah. So,
we did get the flag out. We took whenever we see the Grimy Scots, we have a Scottish flag that you got. You don't even remember this. You were, I think, 5 years old. In Alexandria, they had a Scottish festival, and they handed out flags. Now, when you go to the 4th of July parade, they give you the little American flags that you can wave. They give you a 5-foot flag by 3 foot. I don't know why. I wasn't there for some reason. You brought it back. I had it in a drawer in my classroom for years. And then as soon as I saw the Grimy Scots, I was like, oh, I got a Scottish flag. So we brought that out. We waved it for Grizzly when he came out. I think Hamish was there, but he was ringside. It was kind of unusual to see them just as a singles group rather than a tag team.
I think he might have been injured.
That's possible. That's very possible, yeah. That would be a good way of still getting around it. You can still do the ringside stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that might be true. Also, I noticed his cousin, I think they described it as last time. The lady wasn't there this time either. Last time, they were both in the ring, and then they had a lady with them.
Oh,
and this time, it was just the guys. And although he was only introduced as Tim, I think he said it was Tim freaking Donst. And I was like, oh, good gracious. It wasn't. It was Safety First Tim Donst, which is certainly what this area would expect. And that's the fun character. That's the character we loved. As soon as they played the safety music, we're like, oh, thank goodness for that.
What is his regular music? Is it the safety music?
I don't know. I don't know what his regular music is. I honestly don't remember, to be honest. I guess you'd have to listen to an AIW or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't remember.
Because when we went, I didn't really pay attention.
I didn't. We actually missed that match.
Oh,
we had to leave early, yeah. It was the last match, and we were leaving at 4 a.m. the next morning. So I said, come on, we're going. I'm not staying any longer. At that point, we'd already met Hornswoggle, Ethan Page, EC3, and other people as well. We'd done pretty well on that day. PB Smooth we met as well, and a wrestler, and a referee, Dave somebody as well.
Dawson or something.
Dave Dawson, there you go. So we'd already had a lot of autographs. We'd seen some really cool matches, so I didn't really care at that point. One thing I'm not sure of, that tag team match, I looked at the poster for that, and I think Gregory Iron was at that match.
Oh, he was?
Yeah, I don't remember him at that time, but when I looked back at the poster, I only saw his face, and I was like, I think that's Gregory Iron. I meant to ask you about that, but I forgot. All right, match 1, go ahead.
So everybody's like attacking each other, and then Tim's there just watching it all.
Just sat back, not doing anything. It was kind of weird because it was 6 people, so you'd think it would be like they would pair off in twos, but it was like a 2, a 3, and then just Tim just chilling in the corner.
Yeah, and then Tim does a huge dive off the apron.
Mm-hmm.
And...
Oh, whoa, hold on. That's not quite accurate because that's not safe. He stepped over the ropes, stepped onto the other side of the apron, and then jumped from there. It was like a really low distance. Unless this is a different part of the match I'm thinking of.
So, there's a face lock train, and then Arik, he gets into that, and then Tim comes, and then he just massages Arik.
Uh-huh.
And then Arik Royal wins with the spear.
He did. And of course he did his familiar, yay. We got to do all the little phrases and everything. The one part I remember is Cabana Man Dan as well, with his flip-flop. When he hits with that thing, oh my gosh, the sound. I think it's because it's got a large surface area, and it's better than the hand, and it's probably those little ridges as well. But when that flip-flop hits, my goodness, it really does seem... I'd be kind of curious to know the difference between getting a chop and getting a chop with a flip-flop. In theory, you'd think the hand's harder than a flip-flop, but I don't know. The sound is definitely more impressive, that's for sure.
Match 2, Logan, Easton, Laroux with a white jacket.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
He didn't have the sweater around his neck?
No, it was.
Oh,
it was
okay.
a white sweater, not a blue one.
Okay.
Versus Breaux Keller. He didn't come with his prime time.
I don't think he brought his primetime belt with him, no, but he did win that since the last event. This last event, we probably didn't explain. These seem to be only 6 months. The one we went to see was January, because it was like your birthday time, remember? It was like January 20th, or very close to that date. So this was like 6 months after, so yeah, he certainly didn't have that. This was Breaux Keller's debut, I believe. I don't think he was at the first one.
Yes, he was.
He was at the first one?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, who did he fight?
I don't know, but I just remember he was there.
Alright.
I think he was there.
Alright, he might have been. Perhaps I just forgot it. And also, this was, although Logan was there by himself, you knew at some point within this match, he was part of a new faction. Now, we thought it was like we've referred to it on the first one as the 1%. We thought it was like that group again. Actually, they have a name. It's called Top of the Class. That's came out in the last few days on Twitter. So that whole group with all the people who were in it, which seems to be expanding, it's like a group of 4. You knew that was something we were going to kick in at some point, and sure enough it did. But go ahead, tell us the match.
Bro, he got dropped onto his dingo on the rope, and there was a huge superplex to Bo, and Logan...
To Bo? Was Bo Crockett there?
No, Bro.
Oh, okay. He said Bo.
Logan won with a... I don't know what it was, but...
Was it like a slam? Was it like
I forgot.
Was it a pin?
Did
you say how he won?
Yeah, I just put IDK.
So you don't know how he won either?
No.
So it could have been a count out. It could have been
No,
anything.
it was a pinfall.
It was a pinfall? Okay.
I don't know what it was called.
Was there any interference at this time?
No, not yet.
Okay. So actually, I thought he escaped pretty luckily because we knew at some point, because Breaux had his moments in this, of course, and you're like, they're going to come in, they're going to take him out, and then Logan's going to get the win the cheap way. And actually, Logan extended his hand to him at the end of the match, and everyone's like, no, like, don't shake his hand, 'cause, and that's when I think the other guys came in round the back, and then they took him out.
Okay, Breaux did fight last time because he tagged with Tim Donst.
Oh, you're right, he did. All right, one to Mason. You're right. Okay, fair enough.
And the rest of the...
Against the Grimy Scots.
Yes.
One to me.
What? You never even said anything about, like... I just told you the match. So, the top of the class attacks Breaux Keller, and then Neal, he gets on the balcony with the microphone, and then he says that, I think his name is Trey now, right?
I think so.
It used to be PC, but now it's Trey,
Yeah,
right?
we noticed there was a name change. Or as far as we could tell, there was a name change, yeah.
No, it's Joey.
Joey Ibanez.
Yeah.
I thought Joey Ibanez was a baseball player originally. When I saw it, I was like, that name sounds really familiar. I don't know why,
And
but...
Joey now, he won the match in last event, and now he gets to choose who he gets to
wrestle. He could pick any match he wanted. So he said he was going to tag with Isaiah against part of the head of the class. Elo Neal also said that he was supposed to be at the first event, but he couldn't make it, and he kind of feels like he was cheated out of that chance. And if he didn't mind, then he would like to join the Ibanez group and fight against head of the class. That's what he said, and Jason came out also, and he approved that match. So that was going to happen later in the card.
Match 3, Lady Frost versus Holidead.
Mm-hmm. Now, I got this confused because Holidead came out first, and I was like, Orange Cassidy! I forgot that there was 2 characters that had a similar name, and I can't even remember. Was it Hallowicked?
Yes.
And I was like, oh, because I thought it was intergender. And I was like, looked on my phone because I had the matches. I was like, look. And I was like, oh, never mind. I totally got it wrong. But yeah, I was all excited. We were getting Jay up on his feet because we thought he was going to be Orange Cassidy. And yeah, I totally got it wrong. We've seen Holidead before at Nova Pro, I remember. And we've certainly seen Lady Frost many times.
I have a good picture of her and Allie Cat, I think.
She was in the background, yeah. I made sure that when I took the picture, I was like, oh, I'm going to make sure that she's in the background as I take it as well. So we got a bonus picture.
It's a picture of Holidead in the corner, and then Alley Cat, she's in the middle of a spear, and then her hair is up.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the intermission.
No.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay.
So, Holidead doesn't trust Lady Frost's face.
Because Buff Ref was in this match as well, and he was like, check her face, and Lady Frost sort of like, what? So I thought Holidead started this one off pretty good, actually.
And I forgot something. Savage Gentleman, he has a new,
He has his new suit. I remember them talking about it online, saying that they'd ordered it. I guess it was kind of expensive, and it had arrived, and it looked really cool, and then they didn't have it for Crab Wrestling, but clearly Jackson noticed it as well. He's really good with things like that, and he's like, look, and he noticed that he was wearing, that whole outfit looks really cool now.
Yeah.
That was definitely worth getting to complete that outfit.
I think I saw Savage Gentleman on the Extreme Rules, but it was like during the playback, or it was on Raw.
It wasn't that. You saw him on the documentary.
Oh, yeah.
You saw him on the documentary for Batista, yeah.
Yeah.
It was I think it was on the time when he had security around him to stop Triple H getting there. And yeah, Savage Gentleman was one of the security guards. That
and
was
wasn't he in, him and Lady Frost was in No Way Jose? They
were in the Conga Line for No Way Jose in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and then Lady Frost fought Asuka.
She did. That was a long time ago. Well, that's like a year ago now, but yeah.
I think they've appeared a lot.
They have. I don't know. I know they appeared in the one in Pittsburgh. I think one of them might have been in DC, possibly. And I'm not sure. One of them might have been in possibly even in Baltimore, possibly as well. I'm trying to remember where that one would have been with the security places. But yeah, no, good for them for getting on there. That's cool.
Yeah, so there's a check her face chant, and Frost, she brushes off Holidead before pinning her. Mm-hmm. And she doesn't successfully do it. And then Savage Gentleman's distraction. And then an eye poke tornado kick for a Lady Frost win.
So, no mention of the time when she actually froze Holidead. And the ref said,
yeah.
You got him on freezer. And she's like, why? He's like, well, because I'm going to disqualify you otherwise. So she clicked her fingers and brought it back. No mention of the snowballs being thrown as well, which we really like and think is really cool. Did that fit in there? I'm not writing notes down. You got notes. We're mixing this up. Normally, I'll describe the intro and I'll do the Twitter things. And I was like, no. We're just going to go with this. We're going to let you do the main part, and I'm just going to throw in little comments today.
Match 4, Orange Cassidy versus Hallowicked.
All right, let me open with this one. So you mentioned at the start that Jackson was dressed up as Orange Cassidy. So let me take the story back. We might have mentioned this before, but let's make sure we got some new people and we got the whole story in. Probably about 6 weeks before this match, Jackson had his new sunglasses. He put them on outside. He put his hands in his pockets and basically said, "Look, I'm Orange Cassidy." And that became a thing for him. And we're like, "Oh, well, we can obviously get you a backpack. That's easy." And we tried to think of the other things. He loves watching the Orange Cassidy matches, which is why he knew who it was. We also knew we're getting tickets for this event, which reason we got tickets for this event was the Ugly Ducklings were going to be here. We bought these tickets months ago. This is after Nova Pro closed, and we were like, Jackson's never going to get to see the Ugly Ducklings again. So we bought tickets for this. And then once we knew Orange Cassidy was going to be there as well, brilliant. So over the course of 6 weeks, the hardest thing to get for him was the jean jacket. Trying to get a jean jacket for a 5-year-old is almost impossible. He had some jeans. We cut some holes in the jeans. He got his black soccer socks to pull up so you could see the black through his knees. we looked afterwards. We should have made those holes way bigger. We tried to find out what orange juice he drank. We figured it out, basically. We emptied the orange juice out because we didn't think we'd be able to take drinks in. We just put some orange... Originally, we were going to get some orange card. Couldn't even get that. I found a bit of orange plastic, rolled it round, stuck it inside. That was that. We had the backpack like we talked about. We didn't have the correct shirt. I tried to buy him the shirt online. Somebody sent me a link. It was more expensive for the kid shirt than the adult shirt, which was ridiculous. Finally, I found one, and it was like nearly $30. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so expensive. I was like, I don't care. He'd like it. Went to buy it. It was in Europe. You had to pay like $8 shipping as well. And then there was tax on top as well. And I'm like, I'm not doing it. I don't care. And anyway, he didn't. So he wore... Well, you said you can wear a white shirt, but he wanted to wear his Officer Magnum shirt. So we didn't have the shirt, but everything else. Put some gel on his hair as well to kind of brush it across a little bit. What else?
The laces on his...
We had laces for his pants because we noticed on Orange Cassidy's he has like the tie-up ones. We left those at home in the end. We totally forgot about that part. And I think that's his whole outfit, pretty much. Jackson really wanted to get the fist bump from Office Cassidy, where he just drops the wrist down and then he just bangs wrists because he's too lazy to do a proper fist bump. And yeah, we were ready. Jackson didn't want to wear the whole stuff for the whole time, which was really inconvenient because I was like, I don't know what match Orange Cassidy is going to be. So once they announced it was Orange Cassidy, we quickly had to get him all dressed up again. And then I sent him down to the front with you. I was like, go. Make sure that he gets near the front and he can do the fist bump. We'd mentioned it on Twitter that we were going to be there. I didn't tag Orange Cassidy. Somebody else did tag Orange Cassidy and sort of said, hey, look, this guy's here, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know if he looks at Twitter ahead of time. Who knows? But it was known that we were there and we were dressed up. And do you want to take it from that point then as he's going down the stairs?
Jackson also had a spinner belt in his backpack.
Oh, of course, he had the championship belt as well, because that's how Orange Cassidy carries his IWTV championship with him. Sure, yeah.
And so we walked down, and then Orange Cassidy just stared at Jackson for a little bit and then gave us fist bumps.
He did. And when I watched the video later, I thought he'd missed you to begin with. He did look at Jackson, gave him the bump, and then he sort of went to the ring, but then he sort of reached back and made sure he got you as well. And then, then Jackson came back up the steps, and we watched the match, and somebody got a really good picture of it. I got the picture from behind, and I could see that you got the fist bump. On IWTV, you can see it much clearer, and somebody posted on Twitter later, like, this is like the coolest thing ever. I called him Satsuma Cassidy, because a Satsuma's a small orange. Nobody seems to know what a Satsuma is. English people know what a Satsuma is. Most Americans don't. Older Americans seem to know what it is. So I don't know if it's a word that kind of disappeared. I've seen people say Tangerine Cassidy, Clementine Cassidy. There's been a few little ones. Mini Cassidy, Jukebox Cassidy. There's been a few different ones, but it was so cool. He thought it was absolutely great. And do you want to talk about the match? I could have left at that point and been perfectly happy, to be quite honest. Jackson getting his fist bump, because I knew that's what he really wanted.
Then it was the... oh, wait, we didn't get to the match. So...
That'd be important for a review. Make sure that bit stays in now.
Orange Cassidy puts his hands in his pocket like always.
Of course.
And then Hallowicked gets really mad.
Oh.
And he gets really mad, and then he pulls him out, and then he tells him to fight him like a man. And then he just puts him back in.
Of course.
Yeah. And then he just starts and then he gets the better of Hallowicked without even taking his hands out of his pockets.
I think the funny thing is, and you could hear comments, some people clearly didn't know who Orange Cassidy was. If you don't know who Orange Cassidy is, and you're just going to see a wrestling event, that's going to be the weirdest thing ever. You're like, what is he doing? For people who know it's Orange Cassidy, I love watching it. I never get tired of watching his matches. If ever I see a match on YouTube, I just watch it, and I think it's funny every time. But for people who don't know or don't like that type of gimmick, you could hear some people like, what is he doing? They were not impressed at all. I think he won them over later, but initially it has got to be very strange if you don't know his gimmick.
I don't think that Orange Cassidy is the best first match to watch.
I would agree. I think putting him on fourth is definitely probably a good idea to do that, after you've had a few more traditional matches, shall we say.
Yeah. So, then, Orange Cassidy, he starts, so Hallowicked, he puts the Orange Cassidy's drink he hides it under his jean jacket, and then later he finds it, he drinks it up, and then he does the orange mist, and then Jelly Photography got a perfect one of that.
Yeah. And I got one when I was in WrestleMania weekend. I was really proud of myself for that.
I was really proud of myself when Nick Aldis, he's bending down, and then Isaiah Frazier does, he jumps, he like flips over him sort of. And then I got a perfect one where it looks like Isaiah Frazier's just on the top of Nick Aldis's back.
Oh, he's just lying.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And so then Orange Cassidy wins with the Orange Mist.
All right, now there's something in this that you're missing, and I'm not quite sure of the order of this. Because at one point, he actually, Hallowicked actually got the orange juice and threw it into the crowd. So, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, that could really hurt, because orange is heavy, if you got a bottle of orange juice. And I think it actually broke, because when we went to intermission, we could see somebody was there mopping it up. And I remember at the end of the match, the lady gave him his bottle back, and there was still some orange in it. So I didn't think the orange mist did work initially.
He still had it in there, in his mouth, and then he chucked it out.
Oh, that's right. He had a move applied to him, but he kept it in his mouth. Okay, I remember now. One other thing from this match that I do remember is Hallowicked was on the floor. Orange Cassidy climbed up to the top rope, which is kind of unusual for him because he doesn't normally do the high-flying thing. And Hallowicked kind of rolled to the far side of the ring, and everyone was trying to cheer him to do a coast-to-coast. And they were like, go on. And he dived. He didn't even get close. He only got like halfway there.
Before you actually knew Orange Cassidy, you told me about somebody who like jumps off the top rope but just ends up like flopping on the floor. I remember you telling me somebody about that.
Yeah, that was Orange Cassidy.
But we didn't have any clue who it was.
We probably didn't know at that point, yeah. Because I was going to say, we've only sort of known him for... I didn't know him when he first won the IWTV, so I probably know him probably about January, February, and then you probably saw some of his matches probably March. Well, you saw his first match in January as well, obviously, at First Flying V.
Yeah.
So probably I'm getting it slightly wrong, but I just kind of knew him just a little bit before you.
Yeah.
But now, anything he does as far as I'm concerned is gold.
And I think Hallowicked jumped the IWP championship belt line a bit.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing him. They produce a list of the top 10 people. I don't think he was on that top 10 list. I think one of the reasons was, we know Jason has a connection with Chikara now, because he's going to be on that commentary team. Mike Quackenbush was there, who was obviously from Chikara. The main event also featured the Ant Colony, who were Chikara. So I think it was probably like partly a Chikara thing. Obviously, if you know the people from Chikara, that seems like a logical place to book. And obviously, it's not that far either. Philadelphia, we went to Philadelphia the next day. It's only like 2.5 hours. So it's really not that far away. So yeah, if you can bring in that top talent, then why wouldn't you? Chikara is a really well-respected organisation. No disrespect to Hallowicked at all, but yeah, I don't think he was in that top 10 list that I saw. I can't remember who the top 2 people were, but I know it wasn't him.
Intermission.
So for the intermission, we wanted to go and catch a few people. We wanted to see if we could see Orange Cassidy, obviously. But first of all, we saw Allie Cat was there, and she had a merch table. We have a card from the gated community, but we don't have an autograph. So we're like, we got to go and get Allie Cat right now when we see her. So we got the autograph. We told her how you threw a streamer to her when she was at Alpha 1, and the fact that Jason wouldn't let us throw any streamers at this event. But she said she'd already eaten anyway, so she was okay with that. Cabana Man Dan was there, so we finally got to talk to him, and we got his autograph as well. And they were like, 3 minutes to go or something. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like 15 minutes has gone so quick. With this being a live show, this was streamed live on IWTV, they couldn't really go any longer than 15 minutes. So even though there was a ton of people there, that was pretty much it. So we went straight across to Orange Cassidy, and he was actually coming around his table, but when we saw him, I asked him, do you have any shirts? He said he did. We asked him about, I told him the story about how difficult it was to get him. I checked, does he have the right orange juice? Jackson has the right orange juice, so it's Tropicana, it's no pulp. And I asked him what's the smallest size shirt he got, and of course it was an adult small. So we got him that one. He took a picture with him, you joined in, you took a picture. I love those pictures. I'm going to say he's got his hand kind of draped over Jackson's face, which I hadn't really noticed because it's like a lazy hand kind of thing. The whole experience was really good. It was really great.
And Orange Cassidy's, his shirt price is half price than ordering it from Europe.
It wasn't half price. It wasn't half price. But I would rather the money go straight to him. Like if you buy from him, you know the money goes to him. If you buy from a company, the company takes a certain amount from it. That was the other reason why I was prepared to wait. Because we knew he sold shirts, because we saw him at the January event. It's just in January we wanted an 8x10, which he didn't have, and we didn't really want a shirt at that time, so... But yeah, no, so we got that shirt, so that was really cool. And here comes the part of the show where everybody was going back, because they were like, that's time. And we saw the Ducks, and we said we'd talk to them at intermission time, and because we wanted a picture. This is the first time you... Jackson and me have all been together at the same event with the Ducklings. So we said it'd be nice to get a picture with both of you. Ref Bill, I think it's Bill Olsen, I think Olsen's his last name, was there. He took a picture for us, but I guess we've got to back up a little before that. We had to wait a long time for the picture because only Rob was there to begin with. So do you want to tell the story?
And later, Lance came in, and Rob and Lance told me that I had to put this in the podcast.
You have permission.
We have to wait a little while because Coach Mikey was taking the Browns to the Super Bowl.
Rob went to check on him, and yes, there was a few issues in the bathroom. And I said, you can't mention that in the podcast. And Rob was like, oh, yeah, you can. And Lance was like, you have to include that in the podcast. So they threw him under the bus for that one. We waited several minutes for Mikey to finish his business. And, yeah, we got that picture. It's a great picture. Somebody actually asked, they're like, Mason, why do you look so sad on that picture? I was like, because you were talking full of face. So you have one where you kind of like really frowny. And then you have another one where you're just smiling because it was like, cool picture. I was smiling because I was like, we're with the Ducklands. This is really cool. And yeah, it was great to do it. I've started actually searching through your pictures now because I normally organise wrestling events by the event you're at. And I was like, I wonder how many pictures you've had with wrestlers now. So I actually reposted that. The first event we went to was Nova Pro. It was your second wrestlers you met after Sanjay Dutt. I posted that picture. You have the mask on, so you can't see how young you are there. That's nearly 2 years ago. And then I posted next to it the one we took at the weekend. It's really cool to see, though. But yeah, those guys are great. I was so glad we got to see them, and Jackson got to see them again as well.
And the thing was, we were so scared to talk to Sanjay Dutt.
That first time?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But now we would just walk up to wrestlers because we know they're not going to, be mean at all.
Well, we didn't know because we had no idea what an independent wrestling event was like, and this is not an event we even reviewed. I was thinking this should be one of our future reviews, actually. The first Nova Pro event we ever went to. It seemed to make sense because we were there and we can sort of reminisce about it a little bit as well. But yeah, we were really, because we walked by. I recognized straight away it was Sanjay Dutt, though. I was like, oh, that's Sanjay Dutt. And we just kept on walking, and as soon as we was out of earshot, like, you know that was Sanjay Dutt, right? I was like, I couldn't believe it. Because we watched Impact every week at that point because it was on TV, and we knew who he was. I think he had a battle with the guy who's on WWE right now from North Carolina, Trevor Lee, I think it was, Cult of Lee. I remember they was fighting him on a regular basis as well for the championship, and we're like, I had no idea Sanjay Dutt was going to be there. I had no idea, and to me that was like really cool. So yeah, that was the first one we got to. What a nice guy. What a really nice guy. We got a t-shirt from him. We got an 8x10 from him. And then the second thing we got was the Ducklands after we saw their match, because we had no idea who they were at the time. But once you saw one of their matches, you're like, oh, these guys are great. Actually, we had some idea because they kept trying to get us to buy stuff because we were sat behind them. We were like, they were trying to go, come on, buy a t-shirt from us. Hey, you guys there. Hey, young man. They were trying to get our attention. Yeah, they definitely did get our attention, and we definitely did buy. It wasn't an 8x10 because it's up in your room. It must be like a 14x10 or something. It's huge, but it looks really cool though. It's a great piece of artwork. I'm glad we did get that. And so we missed start of the next match. So, and also at this time, I hadn't posted any pictures on Twitter because they kept saying, "Hey, make sure you post everything. Hashtag Sweet Summer Heat and everything." I hadn't posted the picture of Jackson getting a fist bump with Orange Cassidy. I hadn't posted, because I wanted to watch the match, I hadn't posted the picture of, obviously, you and Orange Cassidy, because we'd only literally just taken it. So this next match, we arrived late for it, and I was trying to update things. So this one is literally all you, Mason.
Match 5, Ophidean versus Alexander James, and we had to come a little bit late, so all I got was the finish, and Ophidean wins with an STF.
I think Ophidean, we've seen in the previous
Yes.
Flying V. Is he from Chikara as well, do you think? I think he
I don't know.
he has that same kind of character though, right? With the mask and everything.
Yes.
So, yeah, I could hear the crowd were getting into it. I could certainly hear cheers and things, but I was really focused trying to get that. I felt bad because I'm like, I hate people that do that. Like, they're looking on their phones instead of watching the match. But I was like, we just met Orange Cassidy. I'm like, everyone who knew that Jackson had already dressed up as Orange Cassidy, I'm like, people are going to want to know that. So I was spending time posting those pictures. So, and I actually think it ran into the next match as well. So I'm not that good on this next match either. So go ahead. What was the next one?
Match 6, Top of the Class versus Eel O'Neal, Isaiah Frazier, and Joey Ibanez.
Mm-hmm. The start of this I know nothing of because, like I said, I was posting. I know a bit towards the end, but
I don't know much about the start either because I was so into this match, and basically all I have was the finish.
okay, that's fine.
And so I remember that they were also like gaining up on, you know how in tag teams they like tag and then like they both start teaming up on him.
Yeah.
Instead, they tagged and then all three of them came in and started beating up on Joey.
That sounds like a pretty good tactic. Yeah. If the ref's gonna let you get away with it.
And then Neal, he turns on his team.
Yep.
And then I think that's how it went in.
And we've seen a lot of this recently from people from Primetime Pro. I don't know what Mr. Gator's doing with his wrestler selection, but we saw O'Shea Edwards do this. He turned his back on his team when he was at Crab Wrestling, when he was representing Primetime Pro. Neal did the same thing. I didn't know why he turned on him, though. That was the thing that was confusing to me. As far as I know, he doesn't really have a beef with any of those guys.
Yeah, he's just...
Unless he was supposed to be, unless he was always, I don't know, perhaps he's good friends with Logan. I don't know, but it was, to me, it seemed a kind of a strange one. I think afterwards, didn't Breaux Keller come out to try and help to even it up? Because it was 4-on-2 at this point. I think Breaux came out to make it 4-on-3 and basically gave a little bit of protection for this.
Yeah, and Logan also came out, and then they all posed. And Neal, he later like shook hands with all of them. And he shook hands with Logan, but not in another attack this time.
Yeah. Now, you can tell me this. I don't think Logan did his 1% with his finger, did he?
I think he did.
Oh, he did. Okay. But I know the group is called Top of the Class because they mentioned that later. So I was wondering how much of that was mentioned. Like, when Logan was introduced, did it do the from a gated community inside a gated community?
Yes, they did that. But...
Okay. So he still is Logan, Easton, Laroux. It's just that he's obviously has a different faction for this event.
Yeah.
Okay.
Match 7. Brittany Blake versus Solo Darling with Officer Magnum versus Kimberly versus Alley Cat.
And, yeah, we tried to look at the intermission as well to see if Officer Magnum was there. Didn't see Officer Magnum. Officer Magnum did like a tweet that featured Jackson, so we knew that he was there. But, well, I guess technically he wasn't there. He could have been Solo Darling. But anyway, yeah, I like all these people in this match. Brittany Blake, we've seen multiple times. Kimberly, you got your picture with recently. Solo Darling was at the same event at Nova Pro. You got your picture with both of them because they were on the table next to each other. And obviously, Alley Cat, we're big fans of as well. This was the first time I think she'd been back in the DMV area since Nova Pro closed because she did not come to that last event because of the issues that happened there. So it was great to see her there. She is going to be at the next Primetime Pro event, though, so that's good. I'm glad we got Alley Cat coming for that.
Yeah. And if Solo Darling and Alley Cat ever ended up as a tag team, they should both, like, you know how the Usos jump off each side of the ring and then get top half and bottom half? They should do that, except call it It's Raining Cats and Dogs.
Oh, that's beautiful. All right, we need to put that as a quote in there. That's beautiful. They have tagged together.
They have?
They tagged together at the, I always get it what called. I always want to call it the Undiscovered Country, but that's a Star Trek film.
Uncharted Territory.
Uncharted Territory, thank you. No, they did. Because Alley
did?
Cat was stroking Officer Magnum, because it was like the cat and the dog kind of thing. So, that's brilliant. Oh, as soon as this episode's recorded, I'm going to post a picture with those two together. If I can find a screen grab from that, and we're posting that. That's absolutely brilliant. That's your best name you've ever come up with one. Yeah, you should definitely... high five on that one, buddy. That's beautiful.
I still think Frostbite is pretty good, though.
That's pretty good. I like Raining Cats and Dogs even better, though. That's great. Officer Magnum came in, and then Brittany Blake's like, get that dog out of the ring. Claimed that she's allergic to the dog. And then I think, wasn't the crowd like, pet the dog, or something similar to that? And of course, other people did, because everybody loves Officer Magnum. Who doesn't like Officer Magnum? Except Brittany Blake, who's a heel. Alright, what do you got for this match?
So, the ref, I think it was Buff Ref, right?
Oh gosh, I'm not sure. I think you're right, though.
And Solo Darling gave Alley Cat a belly rub, and then Kimberly was about to give one, and then she just did like a coup de grace, but she didn't go off the top rope.
Yep.
And then
so just a stamp.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a huge chop by Solo Darling, and then she does a tornado slam, and then Solo wins with a Boston Crab.
Solo Darling does, I think, the hardest kicks.
Oh, yeah.
When I watch her now, she has strong legs. Like, some people go for, like, that chop thing. Her kicks that she does with her legs from one side to the other are brutal. Solo Darling is one of the people who I think is in that top 10 of people who were supposed to challenge.
And this was the match where everybody linked on.
Yes, there was kind of a stretch, and then I think Solo Dolan reached into the crowd, and then one person grabbed, he reached back, grabbed the other one. Finally, the ref came out and was like, no, and separated. I love things like that. If you can get the crowd involved, it looks very silly, but I think it's very funny as well. I love that type of thing.
Match 8, the main event. Ugly Ducklings and Mike Quackenbush, Team Quack Attack versus the Anthill.
The Ant Colony.
Oh.
Isn't it? Oh, I thought it was the Ant Colony.
The Anthill.
Oh, okay.
That's what they announced him as.
Oh, I thought it was the Colony. I thought it was called, because a group of ants was called a colony.
Yeah.
So I assumed it was that.
I'm Rob Killjoy.
I'm Lance Lude.
And I'm Coach Mikey. And we are the Ugly Ducklings.
And you're listening to the
MGB Wrestling Podcast. Quack, 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 quack.
Mike Quackenbush was somebody who we'd listened to a podcast with Kelsey, actually, on Two Face Pod. I've listened to a few things with Mike Quackenbush. I love his podcast as well. I think you should listen to his podcast. It's supposed to tell you how to become a better wrestler. A lot of people who aren't wrestlers listen to it, and they think it has good life messages in, or comedians have said the things that he say are really relevant to him too. So I know Mike Quackenbush from that. I don't think I've ever seen him wrestle. I don't think I've ever seen him wrestle at all.
Yeah.
So I knew he was good. I knew he'd been wrestling for 25 years. I knew he was highly respected. I'd seen on Twitter ahead of time, Rob said, like, this is my idol. This guy is the best. He's really good. You could see the Ducks were really excited by this. They actually put the ceremonial beak on him, that mask we talked about that you had at the Nova Pro show. They put that on him. And, they stepped out of the way, and they let Mike Quackenbush begin. Oh, my goodness. He has... Now, I like people like Dean Malenko. Quackenbush it was amazing. He was so technical. The way he did things and the moves he put on people, the positions they finished in, it was fantastic. It was the greatest technical wrestling display I think I've seen in the time that we've been watching. I love Jonathan Gresham. I thought Quackenbush was even better.
Yeah.
I often say Jonathan Gresham's the best technical wrestler in the world. I think I might have to say he's the second best now. Quackenbush was just so impressive. Even Jackson could tell. Even the 5-year-old could see, because he was like afterwards, I want to see more Mike Quackenbush. And like, good, because I certainly want to see more Mike Quackenbush. He was amazing.
Yeah, so the moves that the Anthill got in, I'm not very flexible, and I think if I got one of those moves, that I would have been screaming in pain.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, some of the flexibility that those guys have to have. It's not just... If you think it's just brute strength, then you're really underestimating the wrestlers. They have to be very flexible. You can see why they need to stretch out ahead of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a lot of submission moves that were put on. But it was great.
Then I was so into this match with all these these moves and then these in and outs.
Okay, I got a few that I can give you then.
Wait.
So
I remember that Mike Quackenbush, he got pushed by the green ant, and then he rolled back, and then it was perfect. His legs were up, and then he got him into like a submission hold.
He was good at reversing moves as well. It was, obviously, with 25 years experience, you would expect to know what to do, but it just looked so impressive. The other Ducks, like I said, were just watching in awe, to be honest.
Yeah.
Rob came in, they kind of took it in turns with the 3 people, and then Lance came in, and then they switched back to Mike Quackenbush again, but...
And I know, like, Tommy Dreamer, he's been wrestling for 30 years, and you can tell he's really good. No disrespect to Tommy Dreamer at all, but, like, you can see that Mike Quackenbush, he's been, like, puts in, like, 200% work.
They're very different in terms of their styles, though, and that's the good thing about wrestlers. There's different ways to put on a match.
Yeah.
And Mike Quackenbush is a technical wrestler, where Tommy Dreamer puts his body on the line.
Yes.
Like, I wouldn't expect Mike Quackenbush to want to jump through barbed wire onto a flaming table from the top rope or something like that, whereas Tommy Dreamer would do that. So I think it's different things, but no, I'm going to say, I can certainly appreciate both of those styles.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to see a Mike Quackenbush match possibly followed by a Mike Quackenbush match, and I think that's the thing with wrestling. You need those differences. You need that Orange Cassidy match in there that's a joke to kind of lighten the mood up. Then you need those tag team matches. And I think that's the thing that I'm starting to appreciate more and more. And actually, Quackenbush talked about it on his podcast. You got to consider it like a 7-course meal. You got to decide what foods are you putting out. You can't just put the same food out every time. You got to start off with like a soup, perhaps. Then you can start off with, I don't know, perhaps like a fish course. Then you can have your main meal. Then you can have like a dessert. Then you can have like crackers and cheese. Then you can have a coffee. You got to mix it up. And I think that they certainly did. I was really pleased to see the Ugly Ducklings main event. we love the Ducklings, and I think the ability that they show as well, they're definitely deserving of main eventing something, and they showed that they were certainly capable of doing that as well. So I was really pleased to see those guys there.
Doesn't Mike Quackenbush own Shikara?
Yep.
Oh, and you said that Drew McIntyre appeared at Shikara?
It was at a baseball event. It was the Reading Phillies, and it was wrestling night. And they had, after the show, they had fireworks, but then they had like an hour show. And somebody took pictures of themselves with Drew McIntyre. Oh. So I'm not sure if he's from that area, or I don't really... Oh, I guess not, because he's Scottish, isn't he? I don't know where he lives in America right now.
Guess that would make sense because he had to go to Extreme Rules.
He had to go to Extreme Rules within that area, so yeah, it's obviously close. But yeah, he didn't have to turn up to a baseball game, so I'm not quite sure why he was there. But yes, Shikara certainly put on. They do several. I think there's one coming up soon for Trenton Thunder. It might actually even be the night that we're recording, to be honest. And they did one at Altoona Curve, and there's like a few different places they appeared. So yeah, I guess if they're within a couple of hours, they'll go put on a show. But it's a good way of getting other people into wrestling as well. And I think if you like baseball as well, that's a great deal. You get to watch some baseball and get to watch some Chikara wrestling as well. I think it's a fantastic deal. But yeah, unfortunately, it was a little difficult because we were very busy that week. But anyway.
And I think so to the end, Quackenbush wins with a 3 pile drivers.
Mm-hmm. So Jason came out and basically thanked Mike Quackenbush for appearing, mentioned he was on his 25-year anniversary tour and everything, and yeah, he got a standing ovation and absolutely thoroughly deserved. Everybody really appreciated. You didn't have to be a wrestling fan to tell that he was at the top of his game and that you were watching one of the best wrestlers in the world. We're just leaving it like that. That's the last thing we're saying on this podcast before the music plays out.
This was the Flying V review of the MGB review of Flying V.
They know that because they're already at the end. Okay. I normally ask you, do you have anything else, Mason? You go, no. I'm like, I guess I do.
Do you have anything else, Dad?
Do you want me to at least finish the sentence before you ask me?
Okay. Do you have anything else?
We normally talk about the ride home. I don't think there was anything particular for this. As we walked out, we saw the Ducks again, and we said bye to them because I know that they had a trip to do as well, and we had a 2-hour trip to do as well because we were actually going up to Extreme Rules the next day. Yeah. So we had that going on, and
Officer Magnum.
Oh, of course, as we were leaving. We knew we needed to go to the bathroom, and we finally saw Solo Darling was there. Officer Magnum was there. So we said, obviously showed the shirt again, and we said, can we do a stroke? And Jackson didn't want to. He was being really weird.
I had to pet him first to show him.
Yeah, it was really strange. He was really excited about meeting Officer Magnum. I don't know if it's because it was late and he was getting tired, but he did not want to stroke Officer Magnum to begin with. But he did. He went under the table, and then when he did, he had a big smile on his face, and he said how nice the coat was and everything. And that was cool to see. I'm kind of surprised. I wonder why Solo Darling didn't come out earlier. I don't know. I don't know. She might have been at the intermission and we just missed her. Like I said, we spent so long on those first 2 tables that we just didn't see everyone. It might have been because she had... She wasn't there because she had the first match after... No, she didn't have the first match after...
That was Ophidean and Alexander.
Yeah, so no, I don't know. Anyway, but I was glad that Jackson got to finally see Officer Magnum, so that was pretty cool that we got that. And we went on our trip and we went up to Extreme Rules, which we actually reviewed on last week's MGB with Zachary Shiloh, so you can certainly check that out as well on the Visionaries Wrestling Network.
It's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him.
Goodbye.
The music was Zigzag by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com. Licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0. http://creativecommons.org/licenses/by